Hello and welcome to Brandex Reviews. In this one I'm going to be talking about the X-Men films on Blu-ray. I'm going to be talking about the best versions that I think there are to buy in case you're thinking of getting these. I'm also going to do a bit of an addendum to a video that I previously did regarding the Wolverine Unleashed Extended Edition, because I did a video and it had a lot of people asking questions. It had a lot of views on it as well, so I think I'll just clarify a few points, but that's going to be the end of this video. I'm just going to go through the films kind of in sequential order. Now, I've recently upgraded all my X-Men films on Blu-ray, and I didn't really have a big problem with the DVDs. I was quite happy. I do like DVDs still. Finding that format is really kind of... It feels in a lot of ways like it's on its way out kind of thing. I don't know why, because it's a very good format. The quality is perfectly good in a lot of cases. Some of the earlier ones maybe weren't converted brilliantly, but I'm perfectly happy with a lot of the DVDs that I own, and I don't feel a need to upgrade them. But in some cases I do, and I've got a few problems with some of the X-Men DVDs. The first one in particular. In fact, I'll go into specifics just with regard to the first one. This was a DVD that came out in 2003. The film was released in 2000, so this was like a later version. And this was X-Men 1.5. And it's kind of like a director's cut in a way, but normally with a director's cut they will just release a version of the film that you haven't seen before with extra bits. This is pretty much the theatrical version of the film that plays, but if you have this option on here to watch the extra bits, what it'll do is it'll kind of stop the film at a certain part where there's an extended bit to go in, and it'll then play the extended bit, which is usually an alternative version of a scene, and it'll play that alternative version of a certain scene, and then it'll go back to where it left you in just the film, and it'll play the original version of the exact same scene. So it's a really tedious way of watching a film. You don't want to be basically watching two versions of the same scene twice next to each other when you're watching a film. It might be interesting to do once, but any future times I've just not bothered, so I was happy to kind of not really bother with that version again. So that's part of the reason why I've upgraded anyway. Now the films, as I said, there are 6 films, and you can buy them all individually on Blu-ray if you want. I tend to have a problem when I'm buying a box set with something. I like to know that film series has come to an end, and that there's not going to be like an extra bit that I'm going to be adding to it, because there's a lot of box sets out there. Like there's a Fast and Furious box set that's come out with the first 6 films. The 6th film came out this year, 2013, but we do know that there is going to be a 7th film on the way, so that's part of the reason why when I bought these films for the first time this year, I didn't get the box set, because I knew at some point I'm going to have 1 to 6 in a box set, and then like 7 and maybe even more kind of loose. So from a collector's point of view, it's nice to either have one box set that you know is never going to be like added to, or just buy them all individually and then have it nice on your shelf kind of thing. But with X-Men anyway, I bought the first 3 films in the trilogy box set, because as far as I'm concerned, 1 to 3 are a solid trilogy. Anything that's come after that, although they are very good and in some ways a lot better, in my opinion, they are kind of spin-offs, whereas the first 3 X-Men films are a trilogy, so I was happy enough to have this in that way. Plus it's kind of thinner on the shelf as well, having it in this box set gives you a bit more shelf space, which, as you can probably see, I'm grateful to have that space, because I'm running out of room fast. Now, with this, anyway, the extras that you get, really good. A lot of them were on the DVD of this anyway, and there's more as well. I haven't actually watched these yet. I mean, I've seen the films before, and I've seen the extras before, so I don't really need to watch this to do this review, because it's what I've seen already. So I can't really comment about the quality or anything, but it's DVD, so I mean, it's not going to be, it's not going to be naff, is it? So, but the extras, as I say, it's fairly standard, deleted scenes, behind the scenes stuff, and that goes for all 3 films in this, so not really much else to say about that. The actual case itself is very nice. Sometimes you get cases like this where you kind of have to rip into them to kind of get the thing out, but in this case it just slides open like that, and it's got 6 discs to it as well, so it's a very nice thing to have in the collection anyway. The next film that came out was X-Men Origins Wolverine. I got this second hand, it was only £3, which was pretty good. It came with a digital copy of the film, which I believe by now has expired anyway. This film has been out for nearly 5 years now. Next year it'll be 5 years that this film's been out. And it's got 2 discs. You've got the version of the film on DVD and you've got the version of the film on Blu-ray. So not much else to say about that. The extras I think look fairly similar to what we got in the DVD version as well. There might be some slight differences, but it's the usual bonus view, which is a Blu-ray function where when you're watching a film it'll kind of cut and it'll bring in like behind the scenes stuff. If you want the film to be interrupted with that kind of thing, go for it. I don't personally, but it's there if you want it. Deleted scenes, like I say, a load of background featurettes, all that kind of thing, so nothing much else to say. X-Men First Class, this was the one that came out in 2011. Fairly short on extra features is this one. It's got deleted scenes and Children of the Atom multi-part documentary. But those are the first 5 films anyway. As I said, I was just wanting to clarify a point that I made in a previous video about the Wolverine Unleashed Extended Edition. Now, there are a few different versions of this that you can get. I'll just kind of start at the bottom and work my way up. DVD, that's pretty much the bottom of the scale now. So the DVD version is about £10 and it's fairly limited on extra features. Simple. Now, that is just the theatrical version of the film anyway on DVD, that's all you can get. Then the next thing up is the Blu-ray, the standard Blu-ray, and it's about £15 depending where you go. At this moment in time, in usual shops, it's about £15 on Blu-ray, and it's just the theatrical cut of the film, and you get the sort of standard extras as you would expect. Now, the extended, well, the Unleashed Extended Edition is what it's called. That is the one that you may have heard of. That's the one that I reviewed in the other video. If you want to own that, you have to buy the film in 3D. But don't panic, because, and this is where I'm getting a lot of questions, you don't have to have a 3D TV or a 3D player to watch the extended version. It's presented in 2D, which makes you wonder why you have to buy the 3D version. It's silly. The only reason for it that I can think is money, basically. They want you to pay more because they know you will, because you're a collector. I mean, I did, and I didn't regret doing it. It was a shame that I had to buy it in 3D just to be able to watch the extended version, even though the extended version isn't presented in 3D. It's kind of stupid. But like I said, they just want to get you to pay more and, you know, get a 3D version, and then, well, I've got a 3D version now, and it's kind of useless now, but at some point in the future, I might just upgrade to a 3D TV. I mean, I've already got a film on there. You can see what they're doing. They're just kind of tricking you into going with 3D. And I'm not a big fan of 3D films as well, even in the cinema. Sometimes it looks good, but a lot of the time it's a gimmick and it's a waste of money, in my opinion. I know computer games and stuff, probably a different story because it's more about immersion and all that, but I'm not into computer games myself, but if you are, I can understand it, fair enough. But this is the one you want to get anyway. Like I said, this is the extended edition, the Unleashed Extended Edition, so if you want to watch it, this is the only way you can buy it, as far as I'm aware. I haven't seen any other versions, and I have looked online as well, so you have to buy the 3D version. Now, this is what you get with it. You get the 3D version of the film, but it is the theatrical cut. So there's three discs. You get the 3D version of the film, the theatrical cut. You get the normal Blu-ray version that you can play on any Blu-ray player, which is the theatrical cut. The third and last disc is the Unleashed Extended Cut of the film, and it is presented in normal 2D. So you can play this on any Blu-ray player in the UK, pretty much. Now, again, it's kind of silly because if I did own a 3D TV and I bought this, I'd be thinking, great, it's 3D, it's Unleashed Extended Cut. But if you want to watch it in 3D, you're not going to be seeing the extended version. You can only watch the theatrical cut in 3D. As I say, the extended cut is in 2D. So it seems really silly how they've kind of marketed this. It's just to get you to pay more to get a 3D version. and then that at some point might make you want to buy a 3D TV. I can see why they would do it, but from our point of view it's kind of stupid, because they should have just released the Unleashed extended version as standard Blu-ray, because that's what the disc is. You know, they should have just given you it with that and not make you buy a 3D version. But anyway, I don't agree with it, but I can see why they did it from a marketing point of view. But I hope that explains it anyway, because as I say, I had a lot of questions on this. Anyway, just to clarify, the differences are, yeah, there's a bit at the end where Wolverine is fighting these ninjas. It's the bit where he's got loads of arrows like fired at him, kind of like harpooned into his back. There's a load of, it's around there. There's a bit more extra gore and blood and stuff. There's also a few extra snippets where he's fighting the Silver Samurai right at the end. Somebody told me that these bits are in the trailer, but they weren't in the theatrical cut. So apparently that is the case. So just fight scenes that have been kind of added to. There might be other stuff as well. If you want to know exactly the differences, I suggest you just look it up. But it is quite a difference anyway. You can see my Wolverine review. I kind of go into a bit more detail, so if you want to look that up, it's on brandxreviews.com, this website right here. I'll wrap this up. Like I say, if you want to see other reviews of films and stuff that I've done, just go to brandxreviews.com. And there will be further updates in due course as well, and we're also doing news reports as and when certain stories come out about upcoming projects, films and TV shows. So if you just check back, and we'll see you for the next review. Thank you very much for watching.